Super Savers on a Saturday is not for the faint of heart. It's a jungle out there. People push carts like they're training for the Olympics. They grab the last box of cereal like it contains actual gold. But the real battle? That happens before you even get inside. It's the fight for a good parking spot. And there's one spot near the entrance whispered about in hushed tones by veteran shoppers. They call it the prime perch. Getting it is like winning the lottery if the lottery prize was slightly less walking with heavy bags. It's the ultimate suburban status symbol for about an hour anyway. Meet Brenda Miller, mom of 3, driver of the Minotaur, a minivan that's seen more crushed crackers than a carpet factory. Brenda was on a mission. Her list was long. Her patience, usually pretty good, was already wearing thin just thinking about the crowds. She needed that spot. It wasn't just about convenience. It was about survival. Getting in and out fast was key. She pictured herself gliding into the prime perch, a triumphant hero of the household. Her kids would cheer. Okay, maybe they wouldn't even notice, but would know. She'd feel like a queen. Then there was Gary Grumbles. Gary loved order. He loved lists. He loved his car, the Silver Streak, a sedan so polished you could see your worried reflection in it. Gary did not like chaos, and Super Savers on a Saturday was peak chaos. He had his reusable bags neatly folded. His coupons were alphabetized. All he needed was a decent parking spot to maintain his carefully constructed calm. Not too far, not too close to a rogue shopping cart. He craved precision in all things, even parking. He believed a good parking spot set the tone for a successful shopping trip. The stage was set. The sun beat down on the vast expanse of asphalt. Brenda, gripping the Minotaur's wheel, turned into the main parking lot artery. Her eyes scanned, eagle-like, for any sign of a departing vehicle. Gary, approaching from the opposite direction, did the same, his brow furrowed in concentration. Both of them could feel it. The shopping gods were about to present an opportunity, or more likely a major headache. Little did they know their paths and bumpers were about to cross in a truly epic way. Brenda saw it first, or at least she thought she did. A flash of red brake lights 3 rows down. A car was pulling out. This was it. The prime perch, or something very close to it, was about to be hers. She flicked on her turn signal, a triumphant little blinker of intent. Her foot hovered over the accelerator, ready to claim her prize. The kids needed their dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets, and she was going to get them, starting with this glorious parking space. She could almost hear the angelic choir. Or maybe that was just the ice cream truck jingle stuck in her head. But hold on. From the other end of the very same aisle, Gary Grumbles also saw the vacancy. His meticulously planned route had led him here. His eyes, usually narrowed in careful scrutiny of expiration dates, widened. This was an A-plus spot, minimal risk of door dings, excellent proximity to the cart return. He tapped his accelerator. The Silver Streak, usually a model of decorum, surged forward with uncharacteristic urgency. He wasn't a man prone to rash decisions, but this spot was worth a little bit of daring. He was pretty sure he had the unwritten coming from the main thoroughfare right of way. Brenda frowned. She saw the Silver Streak. It was coming, and it was coming fast. "Oh no, you don't, buddy," she muttered, gripping the steering wheel tighter. She'd been cut off before, she'd been outmaneuvered, but not today. Not when discounted orange juice was on the line. The Minotaur might not be fast, but it was wide, and Brenda was determined. She had shopping momentum on her side. This was her spot. She'd seen it. She'd signaled. That had to count for something in the wild west of weekend parking. They arrived at the entrance to the spot, at the exact same nanosecond. It was like one of those slow-motion scenes in an action movie. The Minotaur, sturdy and unapologetically beige, faced off against the Silver Streak, gleaming and self-important. Neither driver moved. Neither blinked. It was a silent declaration of war, a battle of wills played out with tons of metal and rubber. The only sound was the distant rumble of shopping carts and the thumping of 2 very determined hearts. Who would crack first? Gary, feeling the pressure, broke the silence first. He gave a short, sharp tap on the Silver Streak's horn. It was a polite honk, the kind that says, "Ahem, I do believe I am in the right here, good sir or madam." Brenda, however, was not in a good madam mood. She responded with the Minotaur's horn. It was a much longer, more sonorous blast. This honk clearly translated to, "Back off, pal," I signaled, "and my kids are going to start a mutiny if I don't get snacks soon." The air thickened with unspoken automotive aggression. Other shoppers, initially oblivious, started to notice. Heads turned. A few people even stopped pushing their carts, sensing drama. Gary, emboldened by his initial beep, decided to inch forward. Just a tiny bit. A psychological power move. He figured she'd back down. Nobody wants a dent, right? Especially not on a Saturday morning. He was banking on her being the more sensible one. He adjusted his glasses, trying to look authoritative, even though his palms were getting a little sweaty. This was more stressful than picking the perfect avocado. Brenda saw his inch and raised him an inch. The Minotaur crept forward, its large grille looking surprisingly menacing. Their bumpers were now separated by mere air molecules. Gary, flustered, rolled down his window. "Excuse me," he called out, his voice a little higher than he intended. "I clearly had the right of way. I was proceeding with due caution." Brenda rolled down her window, the electric motor whirring defiantly. "Due caution? You practically teleported down this aisle. I signaled. That's parking law 101, she shouted back, trying not to sound as frazzled as she felt. Then, in a move that would be debated by parking lot historians for weeks, Gary tried to angle the silver streak into the spot. A daring, slightly desperate maneuver. Brenda, not to be outdone, mirrored his action with the Minotaur. There was a soft, almost gentle. Their bumpers made contact. It wasn't a crash. It was more like a very firm handshake between two very stubborn vehicles. Gasps rippled through the growing audience. Someone even started filming on their phone. This was officially a spectacle. Just when it seemed like they might actually start using their cars as battering rams, a figure of authority appeared. Well, sort of. It was Kevin, a store employee who looked about 16. He was wearing a bright green vest that was too big for him, and a name tag that read Kevin. "Happy to help." Kevin looked terrified. Excuse me, is everything okay here?" he stammered, clutching a stray shopping cart handle like a shield. The sight of Kevin, bless his cotton socks, seemed to momentarily deflate the tension. Brenda and Gary stared at Kevin, then they looked at each other, really looked for the first time. They saw the absurdity of it all. Two grown adults practically bumper kissing in a grocery store parking lot, over a slab of asphalt. A faint blush crept up Gary's neck. Brenda found herself fighting a smile. This was ridiculous. Utterly, completely ridiculous. The crowd was still there, some people looking amused, others impatient. Maybe, just maybe, this had gone a tiny bit too far, even for Super Savers Saturday. And then, as if orchestrated by the parking gods themselves, a miracle occurred. From the road directly the contested spot, another car's reverse lights blinked on. It pulled out, revealing an even parking space. Closer to the entrance, shaded by a small tree, it was the mythical double prime perch. Brenda and Gary both swiveled their heads. Their eyes met again, this time with a shared look of disbelief, then dawning realization. The universe, it seemed, had a weird sense of humor. Gary let out a long sigh, the fight visibly draining from him. "You know," he said, his voice surprisingly calm, "why don't you take that new one? It's clearly superior." Brenda, taken aback by his sudden civility, actually chuckled. No, you go ahead," she offered. "The silver streak deserves a bit of shade. Besides, the Minotaur is used to roughing it." In a shocking turn of events, they both backed up. A new, unspoken truce between them. Gary took the new better spot. Brenda easily slipped into the original one they'd fought over. They even exchanged a small, almost friendly wave. Sometimes the biggest showdowns end not with a bang, but with two good parking spots. And maybe, just maybe, a lesson that fighting over asphalt is kind of silly when there are discounted cookies waiting inside.